Hey YouTube, it's Homesteading cheaper by the dozen. We're going to make a quick video to tell about our double wide and how we got it and kind of give some ideas on getting some cheap homestead housing. First off, well, I'll let Mama explain why we got a need for another place and another house.
So for the past couple years, we've been living on 1.5 acres, 15 kids, 2 adults. We have several dogs. I breed purebreds, boxers, and Shar-Peis. We've always wanted a farm. We don't have anywhere where we can really have a garden. Where we live is not really safe for the children to play outside. We got a road to one side and a pond behind us, so pretty much keep the kids cooped up with me all the time unless I can be out there with them, and that gets pretty stressful.
We kind of got the cart before the horse with the farm. We got 2 bottle calves, and a neighbor gave the boys a donkey. And then
My husband bought me a big, really big cabinet incubator. Actually, I think we traded some stuff for it, but we got a big cabinet incubator, and I just went with it. And I bet I brooded about 200 birds one year, and we had chickens, ducks, guineas,
turkeys,
geese, turkeys,
pheasants,
quails,
quail.
pretty much every little bird that you could incubate, I did. And the plan was to sell it. Have the wife's egg money. It's like a big thing because at that time I wasn't working from home, so I really didn't have any.
Well, and really don't have the room to spread out. We've got about 20 fruit trees on our property that we've planted over the last couple of years, and
Mostly lining our driveway because there's really nowhere to put them. But I've always wanted an orchard, and with a big family, you need a large food supply.
so, and then we also need a place to store the food, like a root cellar. And we grew a garden 3 years ago, a really big garden on a friend's property, and
It was great. Like, we had a really big garden. We canned a lot of stuff. We really enjoyed gardening,
it was
but it was so
8
far away
miles
from
away.
home that it was really hard to keep up with. It wasn't something where you could look out your back door and say, "Oh, the tomatoes need weeded." And so it would go and it would get away from us, and then we'd go out there and have to spend a long time trying to catch it back up. And with it being in the summer and hot outside, we had a hard time. We always ended up being there at the middle of the day, the hottest. It's hot and sweaty and muggy, instead of just being able to walk out your back door in the cool of the morning or the cool of the evening and take care of your garden. So.
We got a lot of little ones, so it seems like everything that we end up doing always it works around nap time.
Yeah.
The little kids take a nap at 11, and usually we don't get things going early enough in the day, so around to leave the house, and then around 11 it's usually nap time, and if we don't stop and lay them down, then they'll be fussy, and so it usually works out that we get a later start than what we want, and it's not really good for gardening. You want to get out early when it's nice and cool and relaxing and peaceful. But so we needed more room, and then also we canned a bunch from that garden.
Yeah.
But then we had nowhere to put it. Like, we were piling it in the kitchen floor, like stacking it up.
The kitchen was overflowing, and there was nowhere to put all the cans.
And so I told the wife we really have to have a root cellar. It's a must for storing like bulk foods and everything, because that's one of our big things right now. We buy beans and rice and things like that in bulk quantities, and potatoes and carrots and onions and things of that nature. And there's just, with the house that we have, there's no place to store anything. So we're needing a root cellar. That was a must. So we pretty much outdid ourselves on what little land that we had to work with. And we started praying and looking for other places where we'd have a little more acreage, a little more room, a little more place to spread out.
We knew that we needed something. We obviously don't have a lot of money, and we've always bought everything, yard sale, Craigslist, LSN, different things to get what we need instead of going out and spending a whole lot of money on something brand new. So we didn't really have payments and stuff, which built up our credit. So we knew we needed something that was owner financed, and that in itself was a task to find. I think we only ended up finding like 3 properties that were
Yeah.
owner financed total.
And we'd been looking at different stuff. We're always looking at property and looking for more acreage. And
The property had to be big enough that we could have a garden, at least an acre of orchard, and plenty of place for the kids to run and play, and for them to be safe. There's no busy road, and different things. So those were some of our, and to be able to have our animals. We wanted horses really bad.
we kind of said that as a minimum, we wanted a minimum of 5 acres. I was shooting more for 10 acres
10.
or more because I knew to have a little place for a junkyard and a shop is going to eat up an acre or two, and then to have a good yard and an orchard's another, and a garden's another couple acres. So
I don't think I really realized how small an acre is either.
yeah,
Well, I was thinking price, and he was thinking acreage, so it was kind of.
yeah, we're really trying to be budget minded on everything we do, but on land, it's going to be a big investment, so you kind of have to think long term and think, is this really going to fit your needs for on down the road? And that's kind of what we're trying to make sure that we're hitting all our bases on that. But anyhow, we started looking online on Craigslist and LSN and different real estate sites, and local LSN is our local sales network. And
First, we were looking for property. We weren't really sure what we wanted to do about a house. We really wanted to build a house so we could have it the way that we needed it, but idealistically, we didn't have that kind of money. And looking for a house that was big enough to sustain us is obviously.
we, we looked at straw bale and cob and
Yeah, we researched all kinds of
cordwood
stuff.
building, log cabin. My dream's always been to build a log cabin.
And we still plan to someday, like way back in the back, little 2-room cabin for us.
Building a stick frame house and just like getting a sawmill and cutting stuff off property and building a stick frame house. But all those things take lots and lots of time and
you have
lots
to
of money.
learn a lot of those things. Like I don't know how to do any of that stuff, so he would have to do it all, and he works, so it would never get done, basically.
And so we're just praying and looking, and we ran across a double wide, which it's a little older, but it was only lived in for 8 years, and then the people
Lost it,
and it
like
sat vacant for 8 years, and then it was sold on a tax sale, and so it's in really good condition aside from
one room.
the roof started leaking in one corner and destroyed one bedroom. So we'll have to totally remodel that bedroom and then put a new roof on it, which that's the kind of work I used to do anyway, and we still do.
Construction man.
Still do a lot of that as well all the time, so that's no trouble for us.
But it brought it within something that was that we could actually afford.
And they had it listed for $8,300.
It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
And we didn't have any money, but we're always looking anyway. Even
Well,
poor
we
people
usually
can
have a
dream.
little bit of emergency money, but it's not very much.
And so it was an hour and a half away from where we live, but we figured, hey, well, let's go look at it. So we went up to look at it and talked to the man, and it was really nice. I mean, it was
I was
nicer,
like, you're buying this for me. You're buying
nicer than what we expected for it to be. And we talked to the man and I asked him what his bottom dollar would be, and he said, well, if you would get a loan and buy it straight out, I'd take $7,000, which that was a really generous offer on his part. And we told him, well, we don't really have any credit, but we'll go back and see what we can do. So we went back and talked to the bank, and it looked for a bit like we were going to be able to get a loan. And then it was kind of back and forth, and then finally they weren't going to be working with us on it. Because they're not real big on, banks aren't big on loaning on property like double wide that's not older and it's in need of some work and things of that nature. So they weren't able to work with us, and we went back and we'd already put 10% down, $700 down. And we went back and talked to the man, and we said, hey, here's our situation. We really would like to buy this double wide, but we really don't have the money either. And we've tried the bank, and that's not going to work out. And we asked him, would you be willing to take some payments on it by the month? And he said, yeah, he would do that with us. So he allowed us to make payments on it and pay the rest of it off, which was a tremendous blessing for us. Didn't charge us any interest or anything, didn't give us any hard time about it, and
Really great guy.
really awesome. And it's been a true blessing. But in the course of all this working out, it was over the process of 3 or 4 months that we went back and forth with the bank.
Officially owned a trailer with nowhere to put it.
Yeah, we'd lined up several pieces of property, and one of them
They just kept falling
was
through.
owner financed, and it really looked good. It was with $3,500 an acre, which is a decent price for land around this area, especially if you can buy it in a 5 acre, a smaller like 5 acre tract or more, and owner financing is a really good price. But it just, one thing after another wasn't working out. Like the owner went out of town a bunch, and he wasn't available, and finally, like the last day,
It was kind of good that he wasn't available.
yeah, the
Ended up being that way.
last day we were fixing to go look
Put some money,
to
on
put
it.
some money on it, and of course the real estate agent had told us, yeah, there's water there at the front of the property, and no problem with water and electric and everything. And we just on a whim went down to the water company and said, hey, what
What's it
would
gonna
be
cost
what would
us?
it cost to get water? And they said, oh, there's no water available. I said, well, what? And they said, yeah, our county's limited on the taps that they're available to sell because our water system is kind of outdated. And they said they've already sold all the taps within like 6 or 8 mile radius of that area that they're going to sell for maybe forever, for as long out as
Until
until
they upgrade their system.
the water system, which
So the only solution to water there would be to dig a well, and mind you, we live up on the mountain, so
yeah,
really deep well,
our
lots of
neighbors
money that we don't have.
neighbors have a well right now on the mountain that they paid $14,000 to put in.
That's more than we paid for our house. So.
It's really deep. It's 560 feet or something like that.
And this was a little higher than that because it was actually up on the bluff, wasn't it?
Yeah, but so we knew that drilling a well, at least for the time being, was out. And with our family, we do laundry nonstop, like all day long. We have a washing machine. I don't know what we'd do if we didn't fix our own washers and dryers, because we're constantly doing something.
Sometimes we get a good one that'll last a while, and then sometimes we go through 3 or 4 washer and dryers a year.
We're doing a lot of work on them to keep them going, but they're running nonstop. I mean, probably 4 to 6 loads a day, every
if I
single
keep up
day,
with it, at least 4 to 5.
day in, day out. So we're burning a lot of water, and laundry's not really one that we can cut out the water usage on. So we knew that wasn't going to work. So then we were kind of got a little discouraged, like, hey, we got this really awesome deal on this double wide, and everything's worked out on that, but now we got no place to put it. So we're kind of
We seem
getting
to do that a lot. We jump the gun a lot.
a little worried, and my
And he really
mom,
wanted it moved.
yeah, he was in a hurry to get it moved, and my mom was renting a little farmhouse, little brick farmhouse, and she was getting a really good deal, kind of just to stay
Keep someone in
and
it.
watch the place. And the people that owned it were fixing to sell the property, and she's on a very fixed income, very small, and she was really worried that she wasn't going to be able to find another place to live that she would be able to afford, and then have anything to take care of her other expenses. And so we thought, well, hey, let's check out that property.
Well, at first we didn't want that property because we didn't realize, A, how big it really was. We didn't know that it was as big as it was. And B, it was the front of it is kind of on the highway, which it's fenced off really good, but it was still a little highway.
And it's not our number one ideal property. Like I would love to be out 10 miles down a gravel road and have nobody else around, but it kind of boils down when you're poor and looking for certain things. You have to work with what you can work with. So anyhow, we asked the owner if he would possibly consider owner financing, and after a little talking and
Back and
talk,
forth.
talking over the terms, he agreed to finance it for 5 years to us, and then have a balloon payment at the end of those 5 years, and which was a real big blessing. We were able to find the owner financing. We've got
And
15
the payments
or
were
30
within our
acres.
budget too.
Yeah,
And the house was there, so his mother could stay there, and we could take care of her because she's getting elderly and she's disabled. And there was enough property that we could still either build a house or put the double wide or whatever we wanted to do back in the back to have our own privacy. So that was great.
and there is a tap of city water right there on the house my mom lives in. So there's water there on the property. There's actually an old well that used to be where the house is. So I believe we're going to be able to work on getting that well working again. And then there's also the creek, which from this last winter up until now, July, the creek is run nonstop. So it's somewhat of a wet weather creek, but like I said, it's run nonstop up to this point. So there's a decent amount of water that's coming through there.
It had a field already, which the fence needed some repair, but basically the field was there. So we could put our cows in right away, after a little bit of work on the fence. So that was a blessing.
The
And the
donkeys,
donkey. And then, of course, we jumped the gun again and went and got horses.
yeah. I haven't got a horse yet, but
I did.
Sean saved up and she had her own money, so she bought her little filly, and my wife wanted a horse, and so she ended up buying two of them.
I wanted one that I could train myself and have from a young age. That way I would know what it had been through and its experiences. So I bought my mother and her colt.
But it was a real blessing to have that field, and then of course we had the tractor before we got the property, so that was a blessing as well. We were able to go in and bush hog, and the field was grown up. It was like 12 feet tall with briars and stuff, and just really bad shape. But it's looking a lot nicer. We've bush hogged it twice so far this year, and it's getting down to where grass is starting to come up more than the weeds, so that's good. But anyhow, we thought we'd talk on the just kind of talk about what we were doing with the double wide. We put a couple of videos on and talk about what our plans were with it, and what our goals are, and then kind of give some pointers on getting some cost-effective housing for a homestead. That's a big expense, but if you're able to build a place, it's nice, but that takes a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energies. And this double wide that we've got, I mean, with the roof and everything, we'll probably have $10,000 in it, and you can't build anything for $10,000. I mean, unless you're building out of cob and dirt and straw and things like that. But then you're putting a lot of time into it. So, tremendous blessing to have it there and have it ready to go. So we're working on getting it moved, and we'll be putting up more videos. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be doing another video of working on moving it and everything again. But it's kind of give you an idea of what we're doing with it, and that's about all we got.
So if you're wanting to have a homestead, just keep praying about it. Have faith. I believe that people are meant to live in the country, especially if they want to. So just look for the best solutions and alternatives.
And there's stuff available, like trailers you can find on Craigslist. A lot of times trailers are free. People give trailers like single wides away for free. And that's really a good entry level housing for anybody that's wanting to be on their own and own their own place.
At least to start off.
To start out, because you can get one cheap and have it moved relatively cheap, and then you have something over your head, a roof, and then you can start doing some flooring or painting or drywall and remodeling and whatever as you have money to do it. But you can at least have a dry place to be in the meantime. But that's all we got for today. Like our videos, subscribe, and give some comments, and we'll continue making some more. Thank you. Have a blessed day.